and that is how the control is offered. Around 15 seconds, we will experience the maximum Q and the maximum loads on the vehicle, and we will reach an altitude of more than 80 kilometers and finally splash down and see some 134 kilometers away from Sriharikota coast. So this is the summary of our profile, and you can see the mission is well planned, and we are all waiting for this mission to successfully happen in around 11 minutes seconds from now, when the liftoff will take place. We will continue our mission speech like this, and Madhuri, why don't you take us further in what is the weather climate and what are the further flight profiles?
Yes, sir. It's a bright sunny morning here in Sriharikota with the benign. The ground wind speed is likely between 7 to 8 meters per second. However, the vehicle is capable to much higher winds of up to 20 per second. The nominal of Vikram S from Sriharikota is at 11 hours 30 on 18th of November 2022. The range and tracking operations for Vikram S being undertaken by SDSC SHAR. Range operations at ISRO. Telemetry data will be captured by ISRO Tracking and Command Network Station of ISRO Center.
The seamless joint efforts of various ISRO centers, including the SDSC SHAR, ISTRAC, VSSC, Skyroot team, and have enabled the Skyroot Vikram S rocket to be launched in a short period of time. In-Space Technical Mission Readiness Review Committee members from ISRO centers, in-space ex officio experts from ISRO rigorously reviewed launch vehicle and in-mission preparation and guidance to enable final. The maiden rocket launch for Skyroot Aerospace is perhaps the most important milestone for the Indian private space sector since the space reforms announced by Government of India. Though a small step, it is a giant leap to demonstrate the ability of the Indian space private sector. This will pave the way for many such launches. Path-breaking launch of the first sounding rocket Rohini 75 that took place in November 20, 1967 laid the foundation of the Indian space program and changed the trajectory of the Indian space sector. Prarambh, which is the first Indian private sector launch, marks the beginning dawn and will propel the Indian space sector into next orbit.
So we are about 8.5 minutes away from the launch. Why don't you in the meantime tell the viewers what is the objective and whether Vikram S is carrying.
Thank you, Madhuri. View from the MCC. Continue to monitor the launch very closely, and as you have asked, what is the objective of today's mission and what is flying abroad? You briefly, to tell our viewers briefly, Prarambh mission is a which test space-grade hardware and systems and validate that will be used in the subsequent launches coming up next year from Skyroot. The company is working on 3 orbital class rockets in the Vikram series, again named after the founder of space program, Dr. Sarabhai. Vikram's 3 customer payloads. We have non-deployable PCB-based payloads, sensors, instrumentation to validate the flight worthiness and the payload process. Now we have this a very interesting thing which is flying with the vehicle is something called space cards. What we have done is, and we have made cards called Hello Space cards, and they are flying carrying wishes of 300 people who have contributed to this mission from Skyroot, ISRO, and in space. So we have put these cards on the vehicle, and this vehicle is going to carry this in around 6 minutes and 40 seconds from now. You can see the launch pad has been cleared of men. Yes, please stand by for an interview by Chairman in Space, Dr. Pawan Goenka. We will shortly show you an interview with Dr. Pawan Goenka, Chairman in Space.
Health is observed. Proceeding to
Today is a
switch
historic
to
milestone day in India's private sector's journey into the space sector. This has been possible because of the space reforms announced by the Government of India in 2020. And the Skyroot Aerospace team, in a very short period of 2 years, have come to this point where they could launch the suborbital vehicle, VKS. The ISRO team, the IN-SPACE team, have played a big role in enabling, and I'm looking forward to a successful launch and start of a new era in India's space sector.
Back to the live feed, where the rocket is view is available to you. The Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh, by Chairman ISRO and Department of Space Secretary Shri S. and also by Shri Pawan Goenka. These dignitaries have graced this occasion, and it shows the importance of the importance the which the Government of India is according to the 4 minutes 52 seconds to the launch, and we are honored and we are inspired to see the top leadership of this country in the space sector.
Sharwan to Blockhouse, the data reception is nominal. And signal strength observed is also good.
In the space sector,
Roger.
supporting this launch.
Blockhouse
And
1
as we today
Vikram S
definitely is a
powered on
historic
and
day,
running on its
where
own
after opening the space sector, with the government support, with the support of like in space, the facilitator, support of ISRO, with the facilities which ISRO has created over the years, we are all set to create another history today, when India takes a giant leap towards private sector participation in the space industry.
Minus 4 minutes.
3 minutes, 58 seconds to the launch, and
Roger.
all clear. Weather you can see is very fine here. As my colleague has already told, उन्होंने बताया है कि मौसम बहुत ही बढ़िया, मौसम बहुत ही अनुकूल, हवा बहुत ही धीमी गति से 8 मीटर प्रति घंटा मीटर 7 सेकंड की रफ्तार से हवाएं बह रही हैं, और हमारे रॉकेट जो है ये डिजाइन किया हुआ है करीब करीब 25 मीटर्स पर सेकंड वेग तक रॉकेट को हम लॉन्च कर सकते हैं. इस बढ़िया मौसम के हम इंतजार कर रहे थे, और हमें आज ये अवसर मिला है, काफी करीब हैं, अब सिर्फ 3 सेकंड हैं.
As we wait for the history in the making, the launch of a first company from the Indian soil,
Minus
from the Mission Control Center, IPL, with the top brass of space and the Honorable Minister eagerly waiting for the launch. We are about 2 minutes 40 seconds from the launch.
The first more than 4 years are coming to first fruition, which will give
One to
a
Blockhouse 2.
step
Event number 60 and 61.
to all of us. And on your view, the final views of the rocket, it take off, prepares to off, all the place, all parameters behaving normally, and the launch being intently monitored. We will, Madhuri, why don't you tell us about a very important procedure, stable rockets?
Yes, sir. As we wait for the launch, let me just throw some light on it. Today morning's
number
winds
76
were
completed.
measured here at SDSC. This data was then fed to the mission simulator and the corrections required in the launch elevation and azimuth angle to compensate for the performance deviations of Vikram calculated. As you know, with the launcher, the azimuth and the launch elevation angle accordingly. Azimuth is at 80 degrees and 100 degrees, the LEA and launch azimuth, as I said. And this is what is required for this mission. This is the standard procedure for orbital rocket launches from SDSC.
हम लोग जैसे योगी माधुरी जी ने बताया आपको कि हम लोगों ने आज सुबह ये हवा की रफ्तार गति नापी है और इस मापन को हमने अपने मिशन सिमुलेशन प्रोग्राम में डाला है और कौन सी एंगल से किस धरती से हुए ये रॉकेट उड़े ताकि हम जो चाहते हैं जो हमें मिले। ये माधुरी बताया आपको रॉकेट का व्यू लॉन्च से सिर्फ 30 सेकंड दूर। हम अब ज्यादा बोलने वाले तक हम आपके साथ मिलकर किस रॉकेट की व्यूज को एंजॉय करेंगे। लास्ट फ्यू सेकंड्स 20 seconds we momentarily go quiet and we feel the launch along with
15.
we enjoy the launch along with you. Just 10 seconds to launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Event number 96 completed.
And we have a successful
Event number
liftoff
98 completed.
of Vikram S rocket. I think I should be able to show you the jubilant environment here at the Mission Control Center, where the entire team is celebrating the launch and the spin stabilized rocket. The views from launcher camera. In a few seconds, the vehicle will undergo the condition of maximum aerodynamic pressure followed by the burnout, and we will get you those confirmations shortly. The vehicle will experience around 15 second time maximum aerodynamic loads will occur. Just to remind the viewers, this is an aerodynamically stabilized vehicle. At 20 seconds flight time, we have reached Mach 5,
Plus 1
which
minute.
means it is flying at 5 times the velocity of sound. And with this, the vehicle has achieved hypersonic velocities. It looks like we do have successful burnout, and the trajectory is tracking as per the prediction.
Rocket is now at the altitude of 66 kilometers, 67 now. We have completed 80 seconds of flight time. We are around 34 seconds away from the launch pad, and the totally intended trajectory is being followed. The present altitude is 75 kilometers. As we slowly go towards our target of crossing 80 kilometers and way beyond that, to be around 100 kilometers when the peak altitude occurs.
Views from the mission tower.
86 kilometers at altitude. We are at 85 kilometers now, and slowly and steadily we are reaching our peak. If you can see on the screens, the altitude around 133 seconds have passed. We are very close to our peak altitude. We are now at around 88 kilometers peak altitude, and everything has gone as per we have planned. We are very close to the peak altitude now. The peak altitude performance reached around 155 seconds, and now slowly the rocket will start its descent. Actually, it has just started from 88 kilometers. Now it has come to around 87.1 kilometer. The peak altitude being met, this mission today has given a good, successful, satisfactory performance
Plus 3 minutes.
as intended by us.
जी हाँ, एक सफल उड़ान प्रथम उड़ान विक्रम एस के लिए। प्रारंभ बड़ा ही रोचक रहा। यह रॉकेट अपने गंतव्य तक भी पहुंचा और अब अपनी ऑल्टीट्यूड को घटाने की कोशिश में मात्र 70 किलोमीटर के ऑल्टीट्यूड पर अब यह रॉकेट स्थित है।
This rocket achieved the apogee of 89.5 meters. That is, the peak altitude achieved by this rocket was 89.5. It was to cross 80 kilometers. As you all know, 80 kilometers is commonly defined as the start of space. So this rocket successfully went into space as we intended. And now, after completing its mission of achieving the peak or creating the conditions for the payloads to function and completing its job successfully, it is on its way back to a safe splashdown in the Bay of Bengal as we have intended. The range right now is 115 meters away from Shar, and we expect it to impact somewhere around 130 kilometers away from Shar. The whole thing has gone as per plan. बहुत ही खुशी की बात है कि सबसे उनके पहले अभियान में ही जो उन्होंने प्लान किया था वो हम सक्सेसफुल रहे और अब ये रॉकेट अपने स्प्लैश डाउन के बहुत ही नजदीक है और हम किसी भी क्षण अब स्प्लैश डाउन के करेंगे। मिशन सक्सेसफुली अकम्प्लिश्ड हो जाएगा। हम यहाँ पर बधाई देना चाहेंगे इन स्पेस को जिन्होंने मिशन को रेगुलेट किया, गाइड किया। हम बधाई देना चाहेंगे सतीश धवन स्पेस सेंटर श्रीहरिकोटा को जिन्होंने ये हमें फैसिलिटेट किया। इसरो चेयर को वी थैंक ऑल दिस पीपल। वी आर हम्बल्ड बाय द सपोर्ट विच वी गॉट। Happy views, mission control, and yeah, and now we take leave from you. Goodbye from our side, handing over to Sri Panka, Chairman in Space, for his speech.
Thank you, viewers. Goodbye.
Thank you, viewers, for joining us. We sign off.
Safety officer, confirm clear launch. Please take for inspection glasses and clear, otherwise normal.
Good morning. I'm happy to announce the successful completion of Mission Prarambh, the beginning of Skyroot Aerospace. The rocket VKS took off at LEA of 80 degrees and azimuth of 100 degrees, achieved an altitude of 89.5 kilometers and a range of 121.2 kilometers, exactly what was planned by Aerospace. All systems, as I can make out, worked as planned, and Skyroot Aerospace has demonstrated capability of various subsystems that will go into the orbital launch. I congratulate Skyroot, their team members, and thank various centers of ISRO, specifically SDSC, STRAC, and VSSC, members of InSpace, led by Director PMA, Dr. Jain, and Director Technical, Rajiv Jyoti. And many thanks to multiple reviews conducted by experts from ISRO, InSpace, and from outside for the mission readiness and launch clearance, led by Dr. B. Suresh. This is a new beginning for Indian private sector entry into space, and it's a historic moment for all of us. We have the pleasure of having Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh, here with us, encouragement, and I request him to give his thoughts on what today's mission means for our country. Dr. Singh.
Congratulations, India. It is indeed a new beginning, a new dawn, and shall I say, very appropriately as our team members have put it, a new prarambh in the journey of India's space program. And very many thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, who has made this effort possible by opening up the space sector to public-private participation. It's also a major step forward to India developing its own space ecosystem and emerging as a frontline nation in the community of world nations. And of course, a turning point in India's startup movement. Well done, Team Skyroot. The co-founders can join me here. Pavan, IIT Khadanai, IIT Madras, alumni, who have worked day and night to make this possible. And of course, kudos. You have the 18th of November 2022 added yet one more feather into your much decorated hat. And thanks ISRO for as a frontline nation in the years to come, and a nation others would look forward to. Vital cues. Thanks once again. Congratulations. Congratulations, everybody. Well done.
And I request for and also co-founder of Skyroot to talk about what it took to reach up to this point. And Bharat of Skyroot is also here.
Honorable Union Minister of State, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Space Chairman in Space, Dr. Pawan Goenka Ji, Director Shar, respected guests, our colleagues, and everyone in this online. We are very that we scripted history today by successfully launching first privately developed rocket, Vikram S. The vehicle reached space to an altitude of 89.5 kilometers and completed the required mission objectives. This Prarambh mission, as the name signifies, is the beginning of a new era in the Indian space ecosystem. Team Skyroot dedicates this successful mission started the Indian and Honorable Shri Modi ji space sector to the private player. And most importantly, with InSpace and ISRO, all their teams and dynamic leadership enable this mission in this most efficient way. With the able help of ISRO, this challenging mission was led by a startup Skyroot and our very new space regulator InSpace within just 2 years from the government announcing space reforms. Ladies and gentlemen, this mission symbolizes not only India's first private launch, but the potential of New India. Each and every team member of Skyroot for making this and family members for supporting them throughout this challenging journey. and importantly, with all our shareholders who have been our backbone in this endeavor. By a startup and a giant leap for the Indian space industry. It's just of a great future. Thank you.
May I now request Rajiv Jyoti, Technical Director in ISRO, to talk about the role played by ISRO in space in facilitating this launch.
Very good morning to all of you. At the outset, let me also congratulate the Skyroot making a new beginning in the Indian space sector with Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, Secretary Department of Space and our in space, Member Finance, Team Skyroot, especially Pawan and Bharat, team which is led by Director VSSC, Director Shar and Director ISRAC. Today's success is the culmination of efforts by various ISRO centers who proactively contributed rocket designed and built by a private company. The whole launch support was given they were provided in various forms. Like today's is SDSC, SF Founding Rocket Complex launch pad for its operation for the private launch rocket. Founding rocket integration and checkout for support, the ranging and tracking operations, ground and range safeties, and detection hardwares which were supplied to Skyroot team. And ISRAC also provided support for compatibility tests at the development phase, station support during the launch in the receiving telemetry which you are seeing on your screens. For all this support, Department of Space and in space have facilitated Skyroot by multiple tri-party joint projects, Prarambh being maiden flight, safety importance. So no committees were constituted to review the requirements of launch. I compliment the Skyroot team for being compliance to all those requirements which were given during the various development phase. You and the launch review committee, chaired by veteran Suresh and the members in space and ex-officio experts from ISRO, they all critically review each and every mission requirements, launch vehicle systems, integrate quality aspects, as well as the most important, the safety guidelines. Finally, after obtaining all the compliances of all the actions, SHAR range safety clearance was obtained. Committee got a confidence and gave approval for the final launch. And really, I thanks to God also that we are lucky that today a favorable window this cyclonic month. I'm sure that flight at this mission will be received, which are received at the various ground stations, is going to be very useful for Skyroot. Will be giving not only for this vehicle, but give confidence for their next orbital mission. So this being a technology demonstration flight, it will help to systems which have gone as a payload into this launch vehicle. In space team, again congratulate the team Skyroot and looking forward upcoming orbital missions. ISRO is with you. Thanks to the Department of Space, Chairman ISRO and Secretary DOS, MRR and Launch Vehicle Committee for giving guidance on landmark journey of great achievement. Jai Hind.
किचन में लगते हैं सबसे जिद्दी दाग।
तो मेरा किचन
और हमारा चैलेंज
अब इसे बेक कर दें। ये किसी भी डिटर्जेंट के बस की बात नहीं है।
पर नए बेहतर एरियल कंप्लीट के बस की बात है, क्योंकि एरियल निकाले जिद्दी दाग एक धुलाई में।
वाओ, एरियल
निकाले जिद्दी दाग सिर्फ एक धुलाई में।
नमस्कार, हार्दिक स्वागत है आप सभी दर्शकों का इसरो के एक और महत्वपूर्ण मिशन में, जिसका नाम है LVM-3 M2 OneWeb इंडिया 1 मिशन। मैं विकास स्वर्णकार सतीश धवन अंतरिक्ष केंद्र शार श्रीहरिकोटा के मिशन नियंत्रण कक्ष से आप सभी दर्शकों का हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन करता हूं। आज मध्य रात्रि के पश्चात 23 अक्टूबर 2022 को इसरो के भीम का रॉकेट LVM-3 का प्रमोशन शार के द्वितीय प्रमोशन मंच से किया जा रहा है। इस प्रमोशन का मुख्य मिशन होगा OneWeb द्वारा निर्मित 36 उपग्रहों को 601 किलोमीटर की वृत्ताकार निम्न भू में स्थापित करना। भारत सरकार के अंतरिक्ष विभाग के अधीन भारतीय अंतरिक्ष अनुसंधान संगठन इसरो की वाणिज्यिक शाखा न्यू स्पेस इंडिया लिमिटेड NSIL के माध्यम से यह मांग आधारित पहला LVM-3 का समर्पित वाणिज्यिक मिशन है। यह एक उपलब्धि है क्योंकि इस प्रमोशन के साथ GSL Mark 3 वैश्विक वाणिज्यिक प्रमोशन सेवा बाजार में प्रवेश कर रहा है।
Namaste viewers and a hearty welcome to the live telecast of LVM-3 to OneWeb India 1 mission from the Mission Control Center. I am Madhuri, bringing to you the commentary for the launch. You're watching it live on DD National. Live telecast is also available on ISRO website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission about to be launched from the second launch pad of Satish Dhawan Space Center, Shar, Sriharikota, the only spaceport of India located in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh on the eastern coast. Will take place at the Indian Standard Time of 7 minutes and 40 seconds past midnight on 23rd October 2022. This will be the first commercial launch for the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark III, abbreviated as LVM-3, to carry numbers of satellites belonging to Messrs. Nexus Associates Limited UK or Messrs. OneWeb through the commercial arm of ISRO, New Space India Limited. The OneWeb satellites are intended to provide LEO-based broadband services for commercial usage. Cumulative payload mass of the satellite is 5,134.4 kg. Let me also intimate the viewers that the payload capacity of LV into the low Earth orbit is 8,000 kg. 36 satellites will be placed in 1 kilometers altitude with 87.4 degrees inclination in batches of 4 simultaneously. Up next is the brief informative video for the mission.
Go ahead.
Charging up RAM hydraulic accumulator commence. T1 can reach on the buttons.
this launch, LVM-3 M2 is now in position at the second launch pad at Satish Dhawan Space Center to carry its first commercial payload of United Kingdom's global communications network, OneWeb.
Today we are going to witness one of the historic events in the space activities of this country, the launch of GSLV Mark III, the LVM-3 OneWeb 1 mission happening from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. This is the first ever commercial launch of the new rocket LVM-3. And we are very happy to have our customers, OneWeb, having their 36 satellites ready to be deployed in this mission.
Well, it's truly a red letter day today for India, for NCL, ISRO, and importantly for OneWeb. As we embark upon the 14th launch of OneWeb, which will inject 36 new satellites into the orbit, this becomes a very special moment for all of us. I am therefore very glad that today we are lifting off one of the most important missions from India on a GSLV Mark III rocket, India's heavy lift rocket, which will take 36 satellites to the low Earth orbit. It will place 36 satellites in a low Earth orbit, increasing the OneWeb fleet to 464. Further launches in 2023 will complete the constellation. The satellites will be arranged in 12 rings, with 49 satellites in each plane. Each satellite will complete a full trip around the Earth every 109 minutes, while the Earth will be rotating underneath satellites. The satellite will always be flying over new locations on the ground. OneWeb's mission is to deliver global connectivity services, and with this launch, OneWeb will be one step closer to offering its high-speed, low-latency services to connect governments, businesses, and communities around the world. OneWeb has partnered with New Space India Limited, NCL, the commercial arm of Indian Space Research Organization, for this launch.
Today's launch, LVM-3 M2 mission, is extremely significant milestone. Space India Limited, as it would open up the big global commercial launch service market for this heavy lift launcher, especially in the context when many operators are looking to build low satellites as part of constellation for meeting global communication needs. This effort of New Space India Limited would go a long way in enhancing India's market share in the global space economy.
LVM-3 has established itself as a reliable launch vehicle of ISRO. In the past few days, ISRO has been diligently making the vehicle launch ready for this flight. LVM-3 M2 will for the first time multiple satellites into low Earth orbit and has the heaviest payload mass till date. With this launch, LVM-3 will mark entry into the international commercial service market and reach new heights.
Roger.
अभी अभी आपने संक्षिप्त वीडियो में देखा सेक्रेटरी डीओएस, चेयरमैन भारतीय मित्तल ग्रुप तथा सीएमडी एनएसआईएल ने इस मिशन के महत्व के बारे में हमें बताया। LVM-3 लॉन्च व्हीकल मार्क III की कुल 4 उड़ानें हो चुकी हैं और यह सभी उड़ानें सफल रही हैं। दिसंबर 2014 को GSLV मार्क III केयर मिशन से शुरुआत करते हुए GSLV ने अपने विकासशील मिशन D1, D2 में सफलता प्राप्त की और उच्च भार को अंतरिक्ष तक ले जाने का प्रदर्शन किया। फिर 22 जुलाई 2019 को भारत का गौरवपूर्ण चंद्रयान-2 भी GSLV मार्क III की सफलतापूर्वक प्रमोशन से किया गया। आज इस कड़ी में एक नया मील का पत्थर साबित होने जा रहा है। सभी केंद्रों से वैज्ञानिक अभियंताओं के योगदान से तैयार यह प्रमोचन यान पूर्णतः सज्ज है वन वेब इंडिया वन मिशन को पूरा करने के लिए। इस लॉन्च की उल्टी गिनती ठीक 24 घंटे पूर्व प्रारंभ हो चुकी है। इस दौरान यान को पावर ऑन कर सभी स्वास्थ्य जांच पूरे किए जा चुके हैं। तरल नोदक के भराव की स्थिति प्राप्त कर भराव किया जा चुका है। बैटरी का आवेशन, सभी ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन के संचार जांच, मिशन कंप्यूटर, वास्तविक समय तंत्र, एकॉस्टिक सप्रेशन सिस्टम, गायरो पैकेजेस आदि की जांच पूरी की जा चुकी है। अब कुछ अंतिम जांचों के पश्चात यान निदेशक ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस को शुरू करेंगे।
At T-21 minutes, no confirmation is needed to control.
The countdown for VM3 M2 OneWeb India One mission is 24 hours long and has begun at midnight on 22nd of October 2022. Typically during the countdown, liquid propellants are serviced into the stages. The gas bottles for command and pressurization are charged to the requisite pressure. The avionics systems are subjected to checks. Critical ground systems are subjected to health checks. All these activities are currently in progress at the launch complex.
Roger.
We are about 21 minutes from the launch time.
Minus 21 minutes. Request all stations change over to channel 2.
ROD, Roger. QA to ROD, all range instrumentation systems are ready for LVM3 up to 100 India 1 mission. ROD, Roger.
Number 428. 438 completed.
ALC to not PIU in ALS mode. ROD, Roger. RSCO to ROD. Range safety systems are ready of LVM3 up to 100 India 1. Telemetry can start storage. ROD, Roger. CNC to DTC Director. All stack elements are ready to support the launch of LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission. DTC Director, Roger.
Minus 20 minutes.
Storage started at LCC. Storage started at VLCC.
Normal L110 stage is cleared for LVM3 M2 OneWeb India on mission.
Cryo Chief confirms normalcy of C25 stage.
Control to note, event number 447 completed.
The mission executives are conveying the readiness of their respective systems.
This is Vehicle Director. Based on the vehicle system performance, LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission, launch vehicle is ready for launch.
Satellite Director to Mission Director. All satellite and dispenser are ready for launch. Roger.
ROD to Mission Director. Range is ready for the launch of LVM3 M2 OneWeb India mission.
Roger.
The Director to Mission Director. Extract TT station and ready for supporting LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission.
Roger. This is Mission Director. Based on the clearances from Vehicle Director, Satellite Director, Range Operations Director, TTC Director, the LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission is authorized.
Stations or not, Mission Director has given authorization for launch.
अभी अभी आपने सुना स्ट्रैक के निदेशक, उपग्रह निदेशक, यान निदेशक, रेंज निदेशक, टेलीमेट्री ट्रैकिंग एंड कमांड निदेशक, इन सभी ने अपने तंत्र नाम मिशन निदेशक को दे दी और इसके बाद इन सभी तंत्रों को संतोषजनक पाने पर मिशन निदेशक ने ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस तथा लॉन्च को आगे जाने की अनुमति दे दी है।
You have watched on your screens the mission director clearing the launch and authorizing the start of automatic launch sequence a little while ago. The vehicle is hereafter on the onboard computers. The final parameter verification of the rocket stages takes place. Decisions will be taken by the onboard computers in autonomous mode hereafter.
October, in the early morning of LVM-3 M2 mission from India's spaceport, Kota, is for launching 36 numbers of OneWeb Gen 1 satellites. With this launch, we are entering into the international commercial launch through ENSIL. This is the first commercial mission for LVM-3 through ENSIL. And it is our first multi-satellite to low Earth orbit. It is also the first launch from India with a 6-ton payload, which is the highest ISRO has done so far.
The nozzle end segment of S200 is assembled with the nozzle and control system elements, and thereafter the middle and head end segments in dedicated assembly towers and shifted on to the mobile launch pedestal for the assembly of igniter and the strap-on nose cone that houses control electronics, and this is being carried out in the solid stage assembly building called SSAB.
S200 मोटर को पूर्ण परिपक्व उत्पादन प्रणाली के साथ सॉलिड मोटर प्रोडक्शन कॉम्प्लेक्स शार द्वारा निर्मित किया जाता है। यह मोटर 3 सेगमेंट से बना होता है। आपने देखा सर्वप्रथम NES को रखा गया, फिर मिडिल सेगमेंट, उसके ऊपर HES सेगमेंट और अंत में इग्नाइटर को एकीकृत किया गया। अब आप देख रहे हैं S200 नोज कोन को S200 के ऊपर में एकीकृत किया जा रहा है। S200 नोज कोन के अंदर वो सभी संबंधित एवियोनिक्स तंत्र उपलब्ध होते हैं जो S200 के स्वास्थ्य जांच तथा कार्य के लिए आवश्यक होते हैं।
SGSC SHAR is proud to be part of the first commercial mission of LVM-3 family, which is making its debut into the global commercial launch market. SGSC is responsible for realizing 2 numbers of S200 solid motor strap-ons for each LVM-3. All the major subsystems were converged at SGSC SHAR, which is L110 stage, C25 cryo stage and payload fairings, which are all assembled in a seamless manner. The entire operation of 36 numbers of OneWeb satellite to dispenser and payload adapter were carried out in a record time without compromising any of the quality, reliability and safety measures, and were done in a qualified clean room. SGSC SHAR provided the requisite mechanical, electrical and checkout interfaces and verified the same. Integration of the LVM-3 M2 vehicle by stacking the stages were carried out in SSAB and VAB facilities and moved to launch pad on 15th October 2022. During the entire launch campaign, there was no anomalies. In the meantime, the range system involving radar, telecommand, MOTR, ground station, communication, vehicle surveillance, CCTV subsystems were verified along with real-time networks, mission computers, meteorology, range and ground safety systems. We are glad to note all the range systems are ready to provide the support for liftoff.
That's the L110 core stage being prepared in a spliced facility horizontally, and it will be moved to SSAB for tilting and precise assembly between the two S200 motors.
यहाँ आप देख रहे हैं L110 स्टेज पूरी तरह तैयार तथा परीक्षण पूर्ण होकर IPRC महेंद्रगिरी द्वारा शार लाया जाता है और शार में आगे के परीक्षण तथा एकीकरण कार्यक्रम जारी किए जाते हैं। आप देख रहे हैं 2 नोजल हैं, यह 10 इंजन के नोजल हैं, पूर्णतः तैयार L110 स्टेज।
The forthcoming launch is the fifth mission in the success saga of LVM-3. LVM-3 is being human rated for the human spaceflight mission, Gaganyaan, and as part of human rating of LVM-3, more confidence building tests of all propulsion systems, including L100, S200 and cryostages have been conducted successfully. This has added more confidence into the vehicle system performance and also proved the robustness of the vehicle systems. The all-up mass of OneWeb India satellites with the dispensers 5.8 ton are 36 satellites, each weighing about 145 kg. The vehicle lift-off mass is nearly 643 tons. The upcoming mission is a unique one which demands separation of all 36 satellites into 600 kilometer orbit. Separation has to be sequenced in such a way that the customer requirement of 137 meter distance between any pair of satellite is met. This is achieved by orienting and reorienting the cryo stage in the onboard thrusters. The total mission duration from takeoff to last satellites are more than 5,500 seconds or about 91 minutes. In order to be compatible with the customer satellite dispenser interface was modified and a new PLA was realized.
Assembled launch vehicle is then moved from the low bay solid stage assembly building to the high bay vehicle assembly building for assembly of upper stages and encapsulated.
S200 और L110 को समायोजित कर vehicle assembly building लाया गया.
Propulsion complex have realized and delivered the L110 and C25 stages for this vehicle. L110 stage is the liquid stage with 110 tons of UH-25 and N2O4 propellant combination powered by twin Vigas engines delivering 160 tons of thrust. This stage function is managed by 69 fluid control components and modules. The C25 cryogenic stage is fully indigenously developed with LH2 and LOX propellant loading 28 tons and is powered by a 19-ton thrust CE20 cryogenic engine operating on gas generator cycle. For this mission, C25 stage alone adds a velocity of 14,800 km per hour, which is 54% of the total incremental velocity required for this mission. This very complex mission, after 25 stage shutdown, we have to separate all 36 satellites in ways. For unlike in earlier missions, C25 stage has to operate for 4,500 seconds after the C engine. The mission management and maneuver is done taking residual propellant and gases from the propellant tank. Extensive fluid flow and thermal studies are to understand the fuel and propellant emission under micro-G. To accomplish this mission, elaborate mission simulations are carried out and necessary improvements have been done in the vehicle and mission management systems.
That's the C25 moving to VAB for assembly.
अब क्रायो चरण को पूर्ण परीक्षण पर VAB लाया जाता है. यह तीसरा चरण है LVM-3 का. इसे VAB लाकर L110 स्टेज के ऊपर में सावधानी पूर्वक समायोजित कर दिया जाता है.
In the OneWeb India mission, the LVM-3 launch vehicle is equipped with an autonomous inertial navigation system. This system is designed with ISRO ring laser gyroscope and ceramic servo accelerometers. The unique feature of this mission is the long duration in order to accomplish separation of 36 satellites in this mission. The almost 1.5 hours it takes from the launch to the achieving the final goal and as well as passivation of the upper stage. Another very unique feature is the precision injection of each satellite such that they don't collide during separation. Not only to collide during separation but also maintain the separation in the long term also. This calls for
certain maneuvers as well as pointing of the launch vehicle, as well as add certain incremental velocity between satellite separation. So this needs to be done in a very precise manner, and for this the laser gyros are equipped or have the capability to measure arc seconds, that is by 3600 of a degree, as well as micro g, that is 1 millionth of acceleration due to gravity. Also we have NAVIC based GNSS aided navigation system, so that the preliminary orbit determination can be carried out and the POD can be made available to the customer.
Here's the equipment B. Assembled to the dispenser and encapsulated assembly with payload fairing in the SPF2.
इक्विपमेंट बे में जिसमें यान से संबंधित सभी एवियोनिक्स पैकेज होते हैं उसे समायोजित कर दिया गया। उसके पश्चात अंतिम में सभी उपग्रहों को समायोजित कर ऊष्मा कवच के अंदर सुरक्षित कर VAB लाया जाता है। अपने पूर्ण स्वरूप में VAB से UT की यात्रा करता हुआ यह व्हीकल असेंबली बिल्डिंग से उम्बर तक 900 मीटर की दूरी तय करता है, अधिकतम वेग 10 मीटर प्रति मिनट के साथ।
The fully assembled LVM-3 on its journey to the launch pad.
Of LVM-3 M2 mission is very unique in trajectory perspective, where the launch vehicle is ascending to the 600 kilometer orbit with an inclination of 87.4 degree. ISTRAC, through its ground station network located at Sriharikota, Bangalore, Thiruvananthapuram, Antarctica, Svalbard, and Shipborne Terminal SBT is strategic in the Indian Ocean, nearly 4,500 km from Chennai. That will be providing the much needed telemetry and tracking support for the launch vehicle, as well as the determination of precise injection parameters for all the 36 OneWeb satellites. ISTRAC has successfully operationalized a 4.6 meter robust transportable terminal with the advanced features which can be operated at any suitable location, either on land or on sea, which even in rough and inclement weather can support the mission.
यान पूरी तरह तैयार और सज्ज है अपना मिशन पूरा करने के लिए। अब हम उड़ान से 4 मिनट 49 सेकंड की दूरी पर, ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस जारी है। इस दौरान सभी जांच ऑनबोर्ड कंप्यूटर द्वारा किए जा रहे हैं।
The launch of LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission is the fourth launch of ISRO in the year 2022. The earlier launches being those of Workhorse PSLV and the maiden launch for SSLV. While Satish Dhawan Space is all set to host its 83rd launch vehicle mission and the second launch pad its 31st mission, this is the fifth time LVM-3
L3 पंचम पीढ़ी का प्रमोचक रॉकेट। यह भीम का रॉकेट पिछले सभी यानों की तुलना में सबसे अधिक विकसित तथा उन्नत अभिकल्पित किया गया है। इसकी ऊंचाई 43.5 मीटर तथा व्यास 6 है। इसका कुल उत्थापन भार लगभग 640 टन का होता है। यह 3 चरणों वाला प्रमोचक रॉकेट जिसकी क्षमता 4 टन के नितभार को भूतुल्य अंतरण कक्षा में ले जाने की है, अथवा 8 टन के नितभार को निम्न भू कक्षा में। इस यान के प्रथम चरण में 200 टन वाले ठोस नोदक S200 स्ट्रेप-ऑन बूस्टर कोर के में लगे L1 जो कि तरल नोदक पर आधारित है उसके साथ संलग्न रहते हैं, और ऊपर के चरण में 27 टन के क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन पर C-25 चरण होता है.
The launch, the maiden launch of the rocket had carried non-operational cryo stage and experiment load crew module atmospheric re-entry experiment or CARE. Thereafter, the developmental launches designated as D1 and D2 had carried GSAT class of communication satellites. Operational launch M1 had Chandrayaan-2 as its payload on 22nd of July 2019. We are about 2 minutes 10.
Minus 2 minutes.
इस मिशन का मुख्य उद्देश्य 36 उपग्रहों को, जिनका कुल नित भार 5,834 केजी है, 601 किलोमीटर की वृत्ताकार निम्न भूकक्षा में 87.4 डिग्री के झुकाव के साथ स्थापित करना है. पूर्णतः परीक्षित होकर इस यान में सुरक्षित अपनी कक्षा के लिए सफर करते हुए 4-4 के समूह में 9 बार में अपनी कक्षा में अंतक्षेपित किए जाएंगे. यह पूरा घटनाक्रम लगभग 4,500 सेकंड का होगा.
Minus 1 minute.
LVM-3 being a gigantic rocket, the ignition of twin S-200 boosters generates enormous acoustics at the time of liftoff that have the
Minus
potential
50
to
seconds.
damage the ellipse in launch vehicle. As a part of acoustic suppression
Minus
system,
45 seconds.
huge quantities of water is injected onto the launch pedestal
Minus 40
to
seconds.
provide denser medium of water droplets to attenuate
Minus
the liftoff
35 seconds.
acoustics.
Minus 30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
Minus 25 seconds.
अब हम 20 सेकंड की दूरी पर प्रमोचन
Minus
से
20 seconds.
सर्वप्रथम 2 S-200 स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर का प्रज्वलन होगा.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
P3 tracking. P1 tracking. Off normal.
भव्य उत्थापन LVM-3 OneWeb India 1 मिशन का.
Normal liftoff and an enchantingly beautiful sight of the twin S-200 boosters burning, saluted against the night sky.
मध्य रात्रि को आकाश को रोशन करता हुआ S-200 बूस्टर्स.
Performance normal.
यहाँ हम इसके कंपन महसूस कर रहे हैं.
Searing the night sky, the LVM-3 M2 mission moves forward. 25 meters
Sharman
long
is in main
S-200
auto.
boosters, each carrying 205 tons of
Sharto is in main
HTPV-based
auto.
propellant.
Plus 1 minute.
Action time 126.6 seconds. They develop a peak thrust of 5,952 kilonewtons in vacuum.
प्रथम चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य.
First stage performance normal.
इसका प्रज्वलन काल करीब 130 सेकंड का होगा. S-200 के प्रज्वलन काल समाप्त होने से पहले ही L110, जो कि तरल नरोधक पर आधारित चरण है, द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू कर दिया जाएगा.
L110 stage.
Now we have a confirmation about the ignition of the core L110 stage.
रेंज निदेशक ने अभी घोषणा की तरल नोदक L110
200 stages
इग्नाइट
are separated.
और S200 स्टेज के बूस्टर्स पृथक कर दिए गए हैं.
The twin S200 boosters have been separated from the ongoing launch vehicle. L110 core stage currently thrusting.
L110 stage performance normal.
This is powered by the Earth storable propellants UH-25 as fuel and N2O4 as oxidizer. The twin Vikas engine powered L110 stage has an burn duration of 200 seconds.
Payload fairing separated.
ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है.
Loop guidance initiated.
अब यान
Plus 3 minutes.
127 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है तथा घने वातावरण से बाहर जा चुका है. इसलिए ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है और अब यान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत है.
Having crossed the dense atmosphere, the payload fairings have been separated and the rocket is currently moving forward in closed loop guidance. L110 currently thrusting.
L110 स्टेज में लगभग 110 टन के UH-25 तथा N2O4 ईंधन के रूप में प्रयोग किए जाते हैं. इनकी मदद से यह चरण 1600 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न करता है तथा इसका प्रज्वलन काल 200 सेकंड का होगा.
The L110 carries the rocket to 282.4 kilometers altitude. Shard, Trivandrum and Bangalore ground stations are currently acquiring the trajectory data.
द्वितीय चरण का निष्पादन सामान्य. प्रज्वलन काल के पूर्ण होने तक यह यान को करीब 2082 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्रदान कर देगा और 3.3 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड का वेग प्रदान करेगा.
Developing a vacuum thrust of 1598 kilonewtons, this stage empties the entire propellant of 110 tons in 200 seconds, that is 550 kg in a second.
Plus 5 minutes.
अगला चरण क्रायो चरण है.
And shut off and separated.
L110 चरण को पृथक कर C-25 जो कि तृतीय चरण है उसका प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है और वह सामान्य निष्पादन कर रहा है.
As announced by the Range Operations Director, we now have the confirmation of the successful ignition of the C-25 cryogenic stage. Currently, the altitude is 333 kilometers.
तृतीय व अंतिम चरण LVM-3 का क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन पर आधारित चरण है जो कि LH2 और LOX को ईंधन की तरह उपयोग में लाता है. यह एक जटिल इंजन है C-20. इस चरण को चरण कहा जाता है. इसमें लगभग 25 टन का क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन होता है. इस चरण का प्रज्वलन L110 चरण के बंद हो जाने के तुरंत बाद करता है. इस चरण में लगभग 650 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित कर 200 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न किया जाता है, जिससे अंतिम चरण है जो उपग्रहों को अंतःक्षेपण की कक्षीय स्थितियां प्रदान करता है.
The cryogenic upper stage of VM-3, called the C-25, carries 27 tons of propellant and liquid oxygen as oxidizer. The advantage of using cryogenic stages is their remarkably high specific impulse. For the C-25 stage, it is 4,344.3 Newton second per kg. The total thrust generated is 180 kilonewtons. During the 600 140 seconds of its operation, there is overlapping visibility from Shar, Trivandrum, Bangalore tracking stations.
यान के सभी स्वास्थ्य जानकारियां हमें भू स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस की मदद से यहां प्राप्त होती हैं। इस मिशन के लिए शार, बेंगलोर, त्रिवेंद्रम, शिपबॉर्न ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन, अंटार्कटिका, स्वालबर्ड तथा लखनऊ स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस हमें सेवाएं उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। इस समय शार, बेंगलोर तथा त्रिवेंद्रम स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस हमें इस यान की पूरी जानकारी उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। तृतीय चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य। अब हम उत्थापन से 480 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 500 किलोमीटर, सापेक्ष गति 3.7 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड।
View from the VIP gallery, where you can see former chairman of the ISRO. More than 19 minutes into the flight, the orbital conditions for the injection of satellites will be achieved. On yours now, founder and chairman of Bharti Enterprises, Shri Sunil Mittal.
Plus 9 minutes.
Now a few words about the OneWeb Gen 1 satellites. OneWeb is a global communications network powered from space, enabling connectivity for governments, businesses and communities. It is implementing a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites. India's Bharti Enterprises serves as a major investor and stakeholder in OneWeb. This is OneWeb's 14th launch and the first with ISRO and NSIL. OneWeb satellites are arranged in 12 orbital planes with 49 satellites in each plane in circular orbit. The constellation will have a total of 648 satellites. Each satellite of OneWeb Gen 1 weighs 150 kg.
Plus 10 minutes.
C-25 तृतीय चरण LVM-3 का सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ और यान पूर्वानुमानित पथ को करता हुआ अपने उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है। वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिक, चेयरमैन ISRO, अब करीब 200 सेकंड की दूरी पर हम कक्षा की स्थितियां प्राप्त करते ही उपग्रहों की उद्दिष्ट कक्षा में स्थापित करेंगे।
Cryo stage performance normal.
The pole-to-pole
Plus 11
connectivity of this satellite constellation combined with the ground segment ensures better look angles for the signal strength. Unless the conventional geostationary satellites where the signal strength diminishes at high latitude regions. As OneWeb slogan says it all, creating universal connections.
OneWeb इन उपग्रहों को Gen 1 सैटेलाइट्स का नाम दिया है। OneWeb एक वैश्विक संचार नेटवर्क है जो कि अंतरिक्ष में अपनी सेवाएं प्रदान करेगा। इस संचार तंत्र से संचार नेटवर्क को कार, व्यापार, बृहत समुदाय को संचार से उपलब्ध होंगी। इसे कार्यान्वित करने के लिए OneWeb के द्वारा एक नक्षत्र मंडल तैयार किया जा रहा है जिसे हम सेट इंस्टॉलेशन के नाम से जानते हैं। भारत के भारतीय उद्यम OneWeb के शेयर होल्डर हैं। यह OneWeb का 14वां लॉन्च साथ ही इसरो और NSIL अंतरिक्ष के बाजार में नया अध्याय शुरू करने जा रहे हैं। OneWeb को इस नक्षत्र को करने के लिए कुल 648 उपग्रहों को प्रक्षेपित करना है। अब हम उड़ान से 750 सेकंड दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 612 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 5.4 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड। तृतीय चरण उत्पादन करता हुआ और उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर अग्रसर।
As we told you earlier, a set of 4 satellites will be injected in 605.8 kilometers altitude at 19 minutes 45 seconds into the launch.
Cryo stage performance normal.
जैसा कि अभी हमने बताया, यह चरण 650 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित होगा। इसी अंतिम चरण के प्रज्वलन काल में प्रथम समूह के उपग्रहों को उद्दिष्ट कक्षा में स्थापित किया जाएगा। तत्पश्चात क्रमानुसार उचित अभिवृद्धि प्राप्त कर अन्य समूहों को उनके कक्षा में अंतक्षेपित किया जाएगा। प्रथम 4 उपग्रहों के समूह की उद्दिष्ट कक्षा 602.3 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई तथा सापेक्ष गति 0.54 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड निर्धारित है।
We are about 9 minutes into the launch. The current altitude is 602.8 kilometers and a relative velocity close to 7 kilometers per second.
वर्तमान में शिपबॉर्न टर्मिनल द्वारा हमें इस ट्रैक के डेटा उपलब्ध कराए जा रहे हैं। अब कुछ ही क्षणों में उपग्रह की अंतक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त कर ली जाएंगी।
Cryo stage thrust cut off.
रेंज ऑपरेशन निदेशक की अभी घोषणा हुई। तृतीय चरण को बंद कर दिया गया है। अब यह प्राप्त वेग को जारी रखते हुए
+16 minutes.
कक्षा की स्थितियां प्राप्त करेगा।
After the first batch of satellite injection, a second set of 4 satellites will be separated 30 seconds later at almost the same altitude with almost same relative velocity. The third operation event in the satellite injection is scheduled 800 seconds later, that is to say 33 minutes 35 seconds into the flight. Fourth separation occurs 30 seconds later. The third and fourth batch of satellites are injected 619 kilometers orbit after the cryogenic stage reorients itself appropriately. Until this time, the shipborne tracking terminal and Antarctica ground stations would have completed their range of tracking and the rocket would have gone to the other side of Earth. Next 5 batches will be separated in predetermined timeline like this. 5th batch at 47 minutes 26 seconds into flight, 6th batch at 48 minutes into flight, 7th batch at 61 minutes 16 seconds into flight, 8th batch at 61 minutes 46 seconds into flight, and finally the 9th batch
Conditions are achieved.
75 minutes 6 seconds into flight. Present.
प्रथम समूह के अंतःक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त की जा चुकी हैं और कुछ ही क्षणों में प्रथम 4 उपग्रह जिनका नाम है 1K, 3K, 5K तथा 7K अंतःक्षेपित किए जाएंगे.
The cryogenic stage is reorienting itself for the first batch of satellite separation.
आप यह एनिमेशन देख पा रहे हैं. C-25 जो कि तृतीय चरण है LVM-3 का, उसे बंद कर दिया गया है तथा थ्रस्टर्स की मदद से इसे उचित अभिवृद्धि प्रदान की जा रही है.
The names of the first batch of satellites are 1K, 3K, 5K and 7K, whose injection we are eagerly awaiting.
K, 3K, 5K, 7K satellites are separated.
प्रथम समूह को सफलतापूर्वक अंतःक्षेपित कर दिया गया है. प्रथम 4 1K, 3K, 5K तथा 7K उपग्रह पृथक हो चुके हैं.
Plus 20 minutes.
We have the confirmation from the Range Operations Director that the first batch of 4 satellites, namely 1K, 3K, 5K and 7K, have been successfully separated.
2A, 4A, 6A, 8A satellites are separated.
And the second batch also have been successfully separated. Their names are 2A, 4A, 6A and 8A.
जी हाँ, द्वितीय समूह 2A, 4A, 6A तथा 8A उपग्रहों को भी सफल